Have you ever found yourself playing the designated therapist for your friend group? You absorb everyone's drama, their venting, and their endless stories. But the moment there is a pause in the conversation and it is finally your turn to speak, you go completely quiet. We live in a society that practically demands we project ourselves outward. The loudest voice at the table is typically the one that receives the attention, the promotions, and the social rewards. Because of that dynamic, people often jump to incorrect conclusions about the quiet ones in the room. If you are the eternal listener, others might assume you are intensely shy, lacking confidence, or simply do not have anything interesting to contribute. Those assumptions miss the reality of what is actually happening. Staying quiet is a highly active, complex psychological behavior operating right beneath the surface. To figure out why you always end up listening while everyone else talks, we have to descend into the mind, peeling back the layers of your conscious and subconscious processing to see exactly what that silence accomplishes. The first layer of this quiet nature is entirely conscious. When a conversation is happening, your brain is actively pulling in raw data rather than immediately blurting out a vocal reaction. As people speak, your mind starts mapping those words against dozens of potential outcomes, predicting consequences and examining every possible angle. This high-speed internal processing is a trait psychology calls cognitive complexity, and it is often a hallmark of high intelligence. While the rest of the room is talking, you are gathering the details that others are missing. Your brain is running a rapid process of elimination to isolate the single most effective response. This intense processing system requires a massive amount of mental fuel, which is exactly why this type of mind rejects surface-level small talk. If the conversation feels shallow, your brain essentially checks out to avoid wasting precious energy on empty chatter. At this surface layer, sitting quietly is an active data gathering process designed to formulate an optimal reaction. Beneath that conscious analytical processing, we find a second layer driven by your innate personality and emotional wiring. Psychology categorizes a specific profile known as the thinking introvert. Unlike people who are experiencing basic social anxiety, thinking introverts retreat inward by choice because they find their internal world more engaging. If you fit this profile, you possess a rich, intricate inner landscape of thoughts and feelings. Pulling those complex ideas out of your head and translating them into spoken words takes a significant expenditure of energy, so you often prefer to keep them internal. This introverted state frequently pairs with a high degree of empathy. You bypass casual small talk to observe invisible lines of tension and hidden emotional states in the room, naturally decoding the underlying feelings of the people around you. In this second layer, the listener acts as a silent emotional radar, conserving mental energy while systematically processing the room's social dynamics. Down at the deepest subconscious bedrock of the mind, we step away from innate personality traits and look directly at your developmental history. There is a vulnerable reality to chronic listening. Always playing the quiet observer frequently originates as a survival mechanism forged in chaotic, unpredictable, or angry childhood homes. Marriage and family counselors Dr. Milan and K. Yurkovich developed a framework for understanding how childhood stress shapes adult behaviors, identifying a specific pattern they call the victim love style. Children growing up in volatile environments learn that drawing attention brings danger. To survive the stress, they figure out that their safest option is absolute compliance and staying entirely under the radar. That survival tactic follows you directly into your adult friendships. When you consider speaking up or putting the spotlight on your own feelings, your brain triggers deep warning signals, subconsciously perceiving self-expression as a risky act. At this final layer, your silence is a deeply ingrained shield constructed years ago to protect a vulnerable inner self. Pulling back to the present day, we can see exactly what is sitting across the table. Your quiet nature is a combination of cognitive intellect, introverted empathy, and protective survival traits. Being the eternal listener is a highly calibrated, multifaceted tool that allows you to navigate social environments with precision. These layers combine to make you exceptionally observant and deeply empathetic. For the people in your life, your presence serves as a profound and essential safe harbor when they need to be heard. Understanding the true origins of your quiet nature is what gives you agency over it. Once you recognize why you are always listening, you gain the power to choose exactly when you want to break that silence. Your ability to quietly observe is a tremendous asset, but the transition from silent observer to active participant is where you finally gain control over your own narrative.